Well, with the vast arable land and abundant water resources, does Nigeria have reason or reasons to be battling food security, food inflation? That is a poser by experts in the rise in the face of looming food crisis in the country. Well, insecurity, bad roads, high transportation costs, and obsolete farm implements are some of the factors blamed for low food production in the country. But are they enough to plunge Africa's most populous country into food insecurity? Well, experts are calling on the federal and state governments to use one of the country's biggest assets, land, to boost food production. BKO, it appears we have a food emergency on our hands, but do we really have reasons to be in this situation?
Ideally, we should not be in this situation, but all the same, we found ourselves in this situation, and what we should be talking about is how do we get out of this unfortunate situation. When you are driving through Nigerian states, on interstate roads, you see huge expanse of land on both sides. You are taking in the fauna. You see clearly that Nigeria is blessed with arable land. In fact, our mountains are arable. Some mountains, you cannot grow anything on them. But in this country, I see people grow crops on mountains. Go to Mambila, for example, you see crops growing on their mountains. In Nigeria, you see trees growing and doing well on our mountains. That's to tell you that virtually every part of our country is fertile. Now, why do we have problem with affordability of food? Because food is available, but is it affordable to the ordinary Nigerian? The answer is no. Many people can afford to eat what they desire. Somebody was telling me that in my family, it's more than 3 months since we last ate yam, because yam has become extremely expensive. You see a tuber of yam in Abuja being sold for 5,000 naira, just one. Especially now that old yam, as it is called, is gradually disappearing. And in some places, they've started eating new yam, like in my hometown, because my dad has said I must not call it village. Like in my town, it's new. They've started eating new yam. So the old yam is far more, is sweeter, but far more expensive. That is the point that I'm making.
Right.
Now, everyone knows that the removal of fuel subsidy, the fact that diesel is not subsidized at all, and the moment our currency went further down against the dollar, diesel prices have gone up. These trucks that move food from the northern part of the country to the south and the southern part of the country to the north, they run on diesel. You can imagine buying diesel at some point at close to 2,000 naira a liter in some parts of our country. What do you want farmers to do? What do you want the middlemen, those who move these crops, who move them, who move produce from one point to another? Transportation costs, you have to bear transportation cost. The end users have to bear the transportation cost. Of course, transportation cost is going up. Some of it also because the cost of servicing, the cost of maintaining trucks have also gone up. You have to buy spares. Spare parts are denominated in foreign currency, at least at the point of entry into our country. So, since we can't do anything about diesel prices, we should expect that it will inevitably lead to higher food prices because the consumers have to then bear the burden.
Right.
You don't expect food crop producers to bear the burden. Transporters will add money. On our road, there are too many checkpoints. Policemen, soldiers, shamelessly extorting money from farmers, from transporters. That cost will inevitably be borne by our people. Taxes, levies. In some states, you have multiple personnel on our highways, stopping them, putting barriers in their way, and asking them to come up to pay some levies, some taxes before they can move. Okay. There's no way all of this will not add to food prices. I've not gone into food supply because I'm sure that Abatan would like to talk about supply. There is a nexus between supply and demand. When you do not supply enough, you also expect that prices will go up. So and there are issues around supply as well. But for me, there is a big problem of affordability. Food is now being priced beyond the reach of our people. It's not as if people get to the market, they don't see what they want. Absolutely. But they can't, a good number of them can't afford. Yes, the purchasing power has continued to shrink. So a good number of them can't afford food at the prices they are sold currently. That's why I talked about yam. How many people can buy a tuber of yam for 5,000 naira? They would rather, Nigerians are now eating not just what they want, but what they need to eat to stay alive or to stave off hunger. So they are not as choosy as they used to be. You'll be choosy when you have so much, to spend. But when you don't have so much, today if you feel like eating pounded yam, you tell yourself that maybe something cheaper, maybe eba will suffice. So that's the point I'm making. But I think also that we need to do a lot by way of supply. We need to produce a lot more, and I'm sure we would like to go into that.
Absolutely, and in producing a lot more, Mr. Abatan, how did we get into this mess? In the midst of plenty that we have.
We got to this mess because Nigeria is the only country in the world I know that passed through big economic zones, importing zones. In the First and Second Republic, I can remember vividly that all parts of the country were supplying foods that is needed by each of the different parts of the country. For instance, in the Western region, between 1960 and 1970, agriculture accounts for 55.8% of the GDP. It means they were feeding themselves. I could remember when I was in primary school and secondary school, we are used to eating white beans that is produced there. Nobody wastes from tomato from the north. Nigeria is so big, let's look at the size of Nigeria, 923,768 square kilometers. Out of that, we have 77 million hectares of land that can be cultivated. But today, we have only been able to cultivate 34 million hectares of land. Which means if we are able to make that 77 million, all over Nigeria, we can feed the whole of West Africa. Nigeria is supposed to be the food basket of Africa. If not Africa, West Africa. But when you look at all the regions, the East, they were supplying us with palm oil. Everybody abandoned palm oil. Immediately, oil came in 1970. Western region, they were feeding all their own population. Everything came down. Between 1955 and 1960, Chief Abatan established 20 farm settlements in all the parts of the Western region. And besides that, he had 5 training institutes to train agricultural specialists who inspect farms all over the place. That guarantees adequate supply. It guarantees continuous production. It guarantees the update and education of local farmers on new techniques. And thank God America came here in the early 60s, established IITA, International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, to advise us. No, go there tomorrow, you will see a lot of varieties. But what have we done? Our governors from 1970, 55 to 60, the man was having 5-year development plan period. But the vision we have today, we don't even have a dream, talk less of having a vision. So the vision collapsed because you cannot produce food that we are eating. Now if Western region, they have 20 farm settlements. A brother of mine, he spoke to me today from UK. He came home around 1997, 98, and I took him around to say he wanted to go into farming. When I got to Koka village, Koka is one of the villages in Ogun State. In local, they have a farm settlement there. I almost wept because as a small child, my dad used to take me to Koka. There's a farm settlement there. They were collecting £1 from
this
them.
One too on the way to Ibadan.
Ibadan, yes.
If you are passing through, what is this place called? I've forgotten the name. You know?
Do you know in Imeko in Ogun State, they have about 4,000 hectares of land.
If we are trying to connect,
is it Okwafo?
Yes. No, you are trying to connect Omiadio from Abeokuta. You are driving. You are living in Abeokuta. It's not
Olodo. Ogumake.
It's a farm settlement. I passed through.
Maybe Odeda Farm Institute.
Yeah, God bless you.
It's a farm settlement and farm institute. That Odeda in 1986.
Was Awolowo that?
The last time I was there in 1986, if you see a cow in Odeda Farm Settlement, the cow will be bigger than all this table. I am telling you, as of 1986, when the military came back, 84. But the problem is that when you have stopped all these farm settlements, naturally I am expecting that each of the when I saw the governors last week Monday, they were clapping, they were doing I only hope that it will go beyond clapping alone. Because, let me tell you something, Lagos State alone, today, an average of 10,000 cows is slaughtered in Lagos every day. Multiply that 10,000 cows by 500,000 naira, each cow. Now, it's about 5 billion, which means we consume cow that is worth 5 billion. So, forget about the north. People if we don't have price, people in Southwest have no reason to say that tomato has gone up. They have no reason to be saying that the cattle is much. People did not can even feed the whole of the other countries in West Africa. That's why I believe. Because it's more profitable for them to even export yam, export grains from Kanu, Kaduna, Sokoto to Niger, Mali, and collect money. Central Africa and collect money. And the state government will earn more money. While in the West here, we have Republic of Benin, all of that we can be supplying. In the East, they can supply the whole of Nigeria with palm oil that was started in 1962. The people, this country came here, Malaysia came here in 1962 to collect palm seedlings. As we speak today, Malaysia made an average of $25 billion from palm oil every year. So the thing is that there cannot be...
We started importing palm oil.
We started importing palm oil now.
Yes.
In fact, they now mix the palm oil with oil, with granite oil. So when you buy it in the market, it will just float. So the problem is that we have abandoned what we are naturally given. Like he said, there's no state in Nigeria that is not good agriculturally for one thing or the other. The north is known for grain. You cannot beat them at that. That's why I said, when you look at it, the food chain, it is easier for them to make money in the north rather than bringing the cattle here. In 1962, I could remember because I used to read Awo's book, he presented a paper at the National Assembly House of Rep that a train, the Chinese wanted to come to Nigeria. They will construct a train that will leave Kano by 12 midnight. In that train, there will be abattoir. So the food, the cattle that you are going to eat here, 6 a.m. in the morning, the train will take 6 hours from Kano to Lagos. And they will not slaughter it. Abattoir will be inside. That was the vision they had there.
Really?
There was no reason at all to be bringing cattle from Kano to Lagos. Don't let us deceive ourselves. By the time it gets to Lagos from Kano, the content, the protein there will have been reduced. Go to Abattoir in Agege. Go and check every trailer that is brought here If it contains 150 cows, by the time they leave Kano, by the time it gets to Lagos, it's only 120 that we are going to get there. Because all the 30, they have died in transit. Because of heat. So the question now is that, why are we crying in the south? Especially, it's very annoying that there's food scarcity, because we have abandoned the farms. All the farm settlements. Let each of the 6 states in the southwest, all those governors, let them go and multiply the farm settlements. Do you know Okoba?
Are the farm settlements still available?
Some of them, most of them are dead. 90% of them are dead.
But they are still in the
But they are still on the ground. It's a question of training people. Train people, supply more implements, and some other things there. Like I said in 1997,
what is difficult in reviving them?
Just revive them and put in more money. I was telling somebody online today that get 100 young people, give them 500,000 naira loan for agri. I'm telling you that 60% of them will succeed. Don't let us say 100%. 60% of them will
succeed. Are aggressive,
because they are very aggressive at that age. But go back to that farm settlements now. Their age, most of them are passing between 60 and 70 years old. What can they do? There's no implement. When you get to ministry in Abeokuta or any of the state, you will see tractor reported, they will say that they are bought the tractor. The tractor will not get to the farmers. So when we cannot produce, how can we supply? So that's why we depend so much on the grains from the northern part of the country. And the northern part of the country is so viable. Why must we say that because they didn't bring cattle from the north? If Lagos can slaughter, have you been to a fish farm? If you get to a fish farm, here, the amount of fish that is produced daily, if government can pump money into it, it's enough to supply the whole of Southwest. Let Lagos just take fish. Lagos, Ondo, Ogun. Let them take the production of fish.
Or they've not got land.
Because they have rivers. Lagos has only 3,000 kilometers of land, the least in the country. It has more than all the 5 states of the Southwest. But the amount of money that's generated in Lagos, every day we eat about 10 billion naira worth of food in Lagos. So the thing is that we are not producing. We should not be crying. We should not be tired. We are not producing enough at all because the capacity has disappeared.
Now, in the north, we have a little problem that is also accounts for rising prices. Before now, the CFA was weaker than our currency.
Yes.
Today, the CFA is stronger than Naira. It was not what anybody expected. Now that the CFA is stronger than the Naira, people are encouraged to gather their produce and then ship their produce across the border. Customs, immigration, EFCC, they are trying their best to stop these trucks from going across the border. But you and I know that they can only try. How many trucks are you going to stop? In any case, some of them are not even using the conventional border posts. So before you know it, and some of them will move in the night, during which time these guys are probably not operating. Some of them use all those routes. I've seen people smuggle grains in Katsina using different routes. Even inside the bush, you just see them, they are going. Now, once they are selling those grains across the border, they are creating scarcity, insufficiency within our own country. Insufficiency that has to be addressed. So, as we say all this, we cannot leave our currency as weak as it is.
Right.
People like Cardoso have a job to do. Because initially, the Naira was exchanging at around 900 Naira to the dollar. Suddenly, we took a decision that we want to go and meet, that we wanted a convergence of rates. We said, okay, you people are doing so, now we are going to meet you. That's what brought us to where we are today. It is not simply the floating. When the thing was newly floated, it wasn't this high. Let's check. Any of us, people listening to me, can cross-check. It was around 900. Then we said, oh, let's go and meet them. You go and meet the black market people because we want to put an end to arbitrage. See where we are now. We've gone to meet them. We even have occasions when the exchange rate will be lower than the unofficial rate. I've seen that. But see the mess that we found ourselves. CFA, a currency that we used to ridicule. People will say, oh, you can actually be a millionaire. Basket. You can be a millionaire in CFA and be a cobonier in Naira.
Yes.
Today, that CFA,
stronger than Nigeria. Before
our highs, is stronger than our currency. I don't think there is any shame bigger than that. For me, growing up in an age when they used to mock the CFA, and seeing before my Korokoro eye, CFA overtake Naira, I don't think any disgrace can be bigger than that. And if we also want to win this war against food insecurity, we have to also deal with that problem. Get our currency to be stronger. Once we do that, these people shipping our grains that we produce across the border, they will be discouraged. Because what will you then want to do that for? Then, of course, added to the need for the governors to do a lot more,
right,
is the need to make inputs readily available, even for free. Give farmers quality seedlings for free, and it is possible. I just returned from Kogi, in a town called Geregu. In Geregu, government has set aside 600 hectares, one farmer to 1 hectare. I saw women younger than you, each person has his own hectare, and they come together to help in planting. You will see the videos. You are joining. Once it's your turn to plant, everybody jumps in, they help you. There's an equipment that they use to roll over the ground that will be digging the holes. And then they join you, they help you to plant. When it's your turn, others moving, they are planting rice, especially, but they also have beans, corn, and others. And there are tube wells to allow for all year-round farming. You know, Kogi has a lot of water bodies. In that Geregu alone, they have River Niger. They have lakes. So all the government needs to do, help build roads that make those farms accessible, provide the grains, the seedlings that they need to plant, provide those seedlings, high-yield seedlings, provide fertilizers at subsidized rate. Right. What usually happens in our country is that they make available fertilizers to farmers, but the fertilizers come usually too late. By the time the fertilizer comes, the farmers say, no, there's no need. We don't.
The planting season is over.
The planting season is over. You know, time waits for nobody.
Absolutely.
So if we can do this, the incentive to farm will be there. Because I listen to people in Kogi, and those women were saying, we thank God, this is the first governor that will come to our community. And he has come to tractorize our rice fields, help us tractorize them. They've already tractorized 300 hectares out of 500 hectares. And they are not paying a dime to the operators of the tractors. Those tractors are working.
Yes. That is the way to go, actually.
Government is helping. No, mechanization is also something that we have not considered. When you want young people, it exists to get involved in farming. You have to make it easier for them. Because their old generation, they don't believe in honest
who and cutlass.
Mechanize it. Let's move into mechanized farming.
Right.
All those governors in our country, all the governors, President Tinubu has to talk to them. What, for example, are they doing about agriculture in Rivers State? Ask yourself. Politicians are more interested in building flyovers, in building estates, where they can then inflate the contract sum and make money. They are fighting in rivers now. They are not fighting over farmlands
Fighting over
They are not even interested in agri
at all.
They are interested in simply eating what is produced from elsewhere. It's a matter that we need to ask ourselves questions. Why are we like this?
Introspection.
Yes. Why should we, for example, have too excessive taxation on the road? So one thing that can be done is all these trucks that are bearing grains, you can say no. All the haulage trucks bearing grains, we will not tax you. Because by the time you tax them, they too will tax the buyer.
Absolutely.
They will tax you and I. So there is a lot that we can do. And for me, dry season farming will help us increase output. And increased output will inevitably bring down prices. I'm happy with what the current administration has done in terms of dry season farming, dry season wheat farming, where they have made 309 billion. They produced 309 billion worth of grains in dry season. There is a need to continue along that track.
Right. Let me hold your thoughts on this. We need to go on a very quick break. We'll have more discussions on this very crucial topic. Just stay with us. We're still on to journalist Hangout, and we're still looking at the issue of food insecurity in the country.
I think, you see, before I forget, there was a video that went viral in which we were told that a basket of tomatoes.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? Was, I think, 4,000.
Yes. No, by the time it gets here, it's 140,000.
So you can see, well, you know, but before it gets here, transport costs. You know, those trucks, transport costs, all those extortionists, soldiers, and policemen, who call, you know, the cost will have
multiplied.
Quadrupled. In geometric progression.
So it also reinforces the point that it is not that there is no food, but a lot of our people can't afford because of...
there's no famine. There's no famine. It's the distribution. It's the cost of getting to the people.
And you're talking about...
And a lot of farm produce even rot away in the rural areas because of bad roads.
There's no road.
So there's a need to fix those state and interstate roads.
Right.
So that farm produce can move freely. I saw a bucket of
tomato,
oranges
along the road
in Boko.
Yes.
You see how cheap it is. Whereas here, oh God, if we can find a way to move produce at a much cheaper rate to different parts of our country, I'm sure it will also help us achieve stability
in food prices. Yeah, and you know, you mentioned the issue of tomatoes, and you know, majority of us rely on. When I say the tomatoes comes largely from the north, we have the tomatoes, the onions, and all of that. But then again, one would ask, why can't we grow those crops right here? Because we have the soil, we have the land.
Let me tell you something. We have mentioned it. It's because we abandoned the land. Look, my late mom, she was a major onion seller. I understand that. She normally travels to Abatan when they bring it from the north and bring it to Abeokuta. That was the only item I know. It was coming from the north when I was very young. Tomato here is round like this.
Yes.
Tomato. Beans is white. We were doing it, but because oil came in 1970, and our sense of reasoning and our leaders, they went mad. We were no more planning again. Because all these things, we are growing them here. Except onion, and because of the land of the north, onion grows better in the northern part of Nigeria. You cannot even grow it here. It's not on commercial business here. But I'm telling you, beans, white beans. When last have you seen white beans here again? That's disappeared. So it is because of the lack of will on the part of the leadership. And I blame more because I don't like always saying that about the president, everything. Who are those people who are in control of land in Nigeria? State governors are in control of land in Nigeria. And each of the state governors have the capacity to do whatever they want to do. Let them yes, I understand that you cannot handle a brick. Government cannot go into business. But government can provide infrastructure. Look at most of the states in the Southwest. I can say this thing. No state in the Southwest has any reason to go and build the airport. Ekiti State building airport, Ogun State building airport. 90% of the rural roads that can bring food to the major centers, they are in bad shape. And you are building airport for who? Now, Ogun State was giving an excuse that they want to be producing food. Before you can bring your produce to the airport, where is the road that all the cultural produce? You want to say it's a cargo airport. Cargo of what? Is it cargo of cassava, or cargo of yam, or cargo of I don't know what, or cargo of rice? It's a misplaced priority. Let them go and no Babangida until he missed the road in 1990. Babangida met well with the D3. They were tarring all nooks and crannies of Nigeria to close the gap between the rural areas, because they are really our food basket. But when there's no road, like you said, now as we talk now, when you go to Ibadan toll gate there, you can still get a bunch of banana for 250 naira. When you bring that banana to Lagos, it cannot be less than 5,000. I am telling you. So our people are actually active, but there's no road to bring those things. Travel to all look at it for local government, some of the biggest local governments in Nigeria. There's no single road. That Coca farm settlement, one of the oldest in Nigeria, is in for local government. And before that Coca, before you get to Coca, thank God for Governor Shoba who started that road from Ifo down to Coca. That the road that leads to President Obasanjo's village. So I think that our government should focus more on building internal roads, link roads within the state. Right. Leave the highway to the federal government. Or the food production belt of all these states. We have more rural areas up till now. Let them construct even if you cannot construct, now that Dangote has come up with their option that it is more better and cheaper to construct road with concrete than using bitumen. Spending our scarce foreign exchange on bitumen. In Ogun State, they have about 5 cement plants, Ibeshi, Shagamu, and the Ewe Kororia, 3 that have been there for ages. Let them be using that thing to construct link roads in the rural areas. Because there is no way, no economy that can take place except the rural areas are linked to the urban centers. Right. So we need to, it's unfortunate that people have no vision. When Awolowo came in 1979, sorry to take you back, he said, free education, free health services, integrated rural development and full employment. But now, that integrated rural development is lacking in all parts of Nigeria. Instead of building esoteric projects all over the place, let our governors, all parts of Nigeria, let them concentrate 60% of the budget for road construction in the rural areas, so that food can come out. When food can come out to the main towns, then you can guarantee that it will be cheaper in those days. But now, the reverse is the case. So the only thing we can do is to let us construct as many roads as possible. Infrastructural development in the area. So when you provide infrastructure, you are indirectly bringing the price of things down. Yeah. Like Fashola used to say that when you construct road, you increase the lifespan of the people living on that road, you increase the value of their property, and you also increase the ease of doing business.
Look at Lagos. Lagos came up with an unusually big rice mill.
Up to today, because there's no feed.
It's not
no paddy.
Because no paddy.
No paddy.
The quantum of paddy that you need to get the company working, they can't find it, because everybody is looking for paddy as palliative and all that. So where are you going to get the kind of paddy that you want? And Lagos has not got enough land to grow crops as it want, except if it collaborates with Ogun State. But you have a state like Oyo. The whole of the Okeogun area is a food production belt.
Oyo
and we have not cultivated even a fraction of what we have.
Oyo has 28,454.
So this is more like the government needs to come together to harness the potential that lies there.
Oyo is bigger than the southeast. Your state.
28,454 square kilometers.
So it's big, and there is plenty of arable land. So the governor of your state, I appreciate what they are doing in Fashola.
Fashola farm.
They are focusing even on livestock. You see, some of the companies have set up their.
Some of the old farms.
Yes, they've revived it. That's what I'm saying, that it can be revived. So at Fashola, they are growing tomatoes in ample quantity. They are growing maize in ample quantity. You know, they are doing livestock farming. I saw tomatoes. you know, and with the help of IITA, you can see that they are doing those things, focusing on technology and all that. So
this is in Ibadan, right?
Ibadan, yeah,
you're not. It's in Okyogun. This is Professor Pella's
yes, Erua Moshaki side. That's you're not.
What's the name of this place?
Erua.
The hometown of Professor Pella.
Erua.
Erua. It's not Erua. Isheyin.
Isheyin, you're not.
Isheyin, it's around Isheyin. After Isheyin, that's you have Fashola farms. So the governor is doing a lot there. The whole of Israel, only 10,000 are farmers.
Yes.
Whereas Israel is one of the best countries in the world in agriculture.
Agriculture, yes.
We have to opt for mechanized farming.
Right.
We have to use technology.
Right.
Over there, they use drones. They use drones to monitor their farmlands, to even plant. You know, somebody told me about one man. He said that man is from Israel. He has a huge farm, but he has only 2 workers. Technology helps him to do the rest of the work.
Do you know that in 1955,
okay,
before Western region started?
Discussion, we would have loved to discuss more because of time, because we need to move on to our next issue of discussion. But food security, no doubt, is a pressing issue. Perhaps we'll discuss this in another edition of the program.